Fantastic. We are live. As you guys know, today is Wednesday, which means we have another episode of Winners Wednesday. And I have a fantastic guest today, all the way from Oklahoma City, Mr. Will Flanagan. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, Micah. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you. The pleasure's all mine. You know, we haven't known each other extremely long, but just in the short time that we've gotten to know each other, you are just an incredible leader, absolute rock star, team leader, producer, and all the above. So I'm really excited for the conversation today. Real quick, did you get a chance to share this onto your Facebook profile?
Yeah, I'm doing that as we speak.
Awesome.
Once you have it posted, then it will go out to mine and we'll get some more eyes on this.
Yeah, I love it. Is it not posted on my Facebook profile yet?
There it is. Sorry, I had to refresh.
Okay. There might be a little bit of a lag. So we'll let you go ahead and do that as we dive into this.
All right, we're good.
Good. Awesome. If you guys are watching this, go ahead and give us a like, a heart, a little bit of love. If you have any questions for Will as we go along, please make sure and comment below. Leslie says, good morning, Will. I see you everywhere. Will is everywhere. So awesome.
That means it's working. I love it.
It's working. He's on TikTok. He's on Facebook. He's on YouTube, right? So so it's working. And I definitely want to dive into your social media. But so let's dive into it, Will. For those that don't know you, give a little bit of a brief background on yourself, how long you've been in real estate, how you got into real estate. Give us the details.
Sure. So I've been around real estate my whole life. My stepfather owns a architectural design and build firm in Oklahoma City, Bill Gummerson and Associates. And so as a kid, I would, be looking at blueprints and be walking through these old historic homes. He kind of focused in the historic realm, and he worked closely with Historic Preservation Society and all that stuff. So I kind of came up through it in a natural way, I think you could say. In terms of my own personal voyage, I got licensed in 2015 in Minneapolis, and I had my license for a couple of years up there, but it's a different market. It was a different time. I had become a brand new father, and so I ended up, quite frankly, just putting it on hold because I had too many things happening. And I understand the failure rate in real estate, which I think most new agents do, and it's something that's ultimately I had to decide, okay, well, I'm not able to focus enough time on this right now. So I'm going to just kind of put this on the back burner. And I had always thought about, what I would do if I got back in. We ended up moving back to Oklahoma City in August of 2019 and just hit the ground running, started getting as busy as we could. I got my license in March 16th of 2020, which I think that was the day they declared the state of emergency. And so it was, by and large, the absolute worst time to get into real estate, in my opinion, just because there was, really nobody that was allowing you into homes. There was so many things that were up in the air. And so I was able to really kind of focus in and to have an opportunity just to get kind of linear focused on things. And so I've in terms of the Oklahoma City market, it's been since March of 2020, which I know that I throw a lot of shade about all the COVID agents and the people who got in when they got laid off from their other job or when, the world fell apart. And I know there's a lot of those people that are getting out right now. I think we've seen 63,000 this year alone that have exited the market. So it's always a trying game. You wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, here we go again. What is going to happen? And just trying to get put your best foot forward and touch as many people. Well, not touch, but talk to as many people as possible.
The real estate touch, right?
Exactly.
So Sarah said Oklahoma City is the best. It's funny, anytime, I see that trend when people move away from Oklahoma City, it's like there's something that always pulls us back. But that's probably, Will, why we didn't know each other when I lived there, because I literally moved out March of 2020. So as COVID was shutting down, I moved to Florida because I was like, well, if I'm going to get stuck in the house, I need to be able to go outside.
Yeah, at least you have an ocean in your backyard, right?
So, well, great. And Sarah's right. Oklahoma City is the heart of the United States that I believe. So it will always be home. So, which is, we talked about a very important statistic that, that a lot of agents are getting out of the industry because we haven't had a very unrealistic market the last couple of years. And so anytime you have a correction in a market, you're going to have agents kind of freeze and not know what to do, which is really why I've gone back to the basics with our team and teaching a lot of CE classes and things like this of what's worked for agents to really give and inspire people with some true nuggets that they can take away and then turn in and implement into their own businesses. Because we all hope that, they at least give it the opportunity. And I think now more than ever, it's important to go back to the basics and the foundation in your business. Even if you've been in the industry over a decade, like myself, 14 years or 20 years, right? It doesn't matter. It's important to go back to the basics. But with that said, so you were licensed in Minneapolis, came to Oklahoma City, got licensed in Oklahoma City. You've done extremely well. Like I said, various roles in terms of being a team leader, a mentor, social media guru. What would you say has really been the key to your success in just really a small span of time?
I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of dumb luck that goes along with this, but I think that if you are able to put yourself out enough, if you're able to maximize the amount of people in which you speak to, there's business that's out there, and people that had been on my team or my downline or whatever, metric you want to measure it as, I had always kind of adopted Ricky Carruth's ideology about business is out there and there's people that are out there that want to work with you. You just have to find them. And so I know that it is a extraordinarily competitive market. And, as a new agent and as someone who coaches a lot of new agents, I know that everybody wants to be a luxury listing agent where they want to get to like the easy wins, so to speak. But there's really no such thing. I mean, sure, I would love to flex like Wyatt Poindexter and list these $10 million homes, but I also know that would come with its own set of challenges, right? And
right.
Being
you got to look at
able
what's
to
selling, right? What's selling in the market. So sometimes luxury is not always best.
Yeah, and I know that there are deals that close every single day. There are always people that are going to want to buy and to sell, regardless of what the interest rates are. And so, I think for my own personal success, it's a lot of just being really stubborn and trying to persevere the best I can. I have a list of metrics that I set out for monthly, weekly, and daily, and that's kind of how I measure my day as I'm time blocking. Have I hit my numbers in terms of people that I need to speak with? Have I done enough social media contents? Have I put short form videos up? Have I rubbed my genie lamp enough to try to get lucky? It's, again, I think it's one of those things that it just requires being out there. You know what I mean? When I first started, I was like suit and tie, and I was trying to convey this like overly greasy professional person over the phone, and I had no luck. I got shut down left, right, and center. And so I was like, you know what, dude, screw this. I'll just be myself and I'll see what happens. And I think people are receptive to that. If you are authentic and genuine and you have a positive intent, I think that there are people out there that are like, yo, I'd rather work with somebody like that who is a little bit more kind of real and not this guy with a name tag. No offense to the name tag guys, but those individuals, it's just not me. So yeah, I would say to boil it down to the least common denominator, man, just perseverance.
I love it. And you said something that's really key here is just be yourself and be authentic, because at the end of the day, this is a relationships business. It's about building rapport. Like you said, touches. And when we don't mean physical touch, but in terms of being belly to belly and having those conversations, for lack of a better term. And I think that's incredible. That's one of the things that we miss in real estate is a lot of us just kind of sit behind our computer and expect, buyers and sellers to rain from the sky. And at the end of the day, you've got to be prospecting. You have to be out there. You have to be having conversations. And one of the things that I love about our model is, now more than ever, I'm starting to get back into production and lead generate for our team. And I'm like, well, why am I limiting myself to Oklahoma City? Let's lead generate across the entire state and just refer the heck out of this. So this morning alone referred 160 acres in Northeast Oklahoma. So it's the point in saying all that is Will is absolutely right. It's all in perception. It's all in mindset. business is out there. How are you going to take the market share right now? Because as many of agents are exiting the business, how are you going to turn this into an advantage and take market share? So I think these are all really, really good points. Jan says, Will is an amazing realtor. Could not agree more.
I'll Venmo you $20, Jan.
Yeah, here's a Starbucks gift card right now. If you have any questions for Will, please go ahead and comment them below. We'll definitely try to get to them. So Will, you talked about, and we briefly touched on, so you became very quickly a very successful individual agent. Now you built out a team, group, however you want to call it, and you're mentoring other agents. How did you kind of transition into that position so quickly?
So the way that the previous brokerage was structured is pretty similar to EXP in that there are downlines and that there is a monetary incentive to build those teams and to foster successful and producing agents. And so, when I'm no spring chicken, right? So like when I got into this, I in my mind thought, okay, I don't want to be in production for 20 years, but if I can establish a solid group of individuals that understands, like Gene Frederick's 6x6, like if there's an opportunity to kind of Huckleberry Finn it, and train these people to do the things that I'm doing, and then to be able to make a living off of that kind of growth, then I see the value in that. And I think that anyone who is part of EXP or any other brokerage that allows for revenue share or downlines or overrides or team build, however you call it, I think that is a phenomenal opportunity that, you basically get to create a brokerage within a brokerage without having to pay E&O and building and admin and all this stuff. And so I think it's something that not enough of agents do. And people like to sell, man. Like I get it. They like the thrill of the hunt and being in the field and working with buyers and sellers and all that. And I respect that because I like it too. But I don't want to do it in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So I think that we are only as good as our last bad day. And so being able to keep myself accountable and we learn things 90% faster if we're teaching them. So I've been able to absorb a tremendous amount of information over the last few years that I have then, I felt that I really need to know this stuff if I'm going to be teaching it, right? And people are going to trust me with their livelihoods. And so I think that team building is a big part of what my future goals are. I brought a team over from the previous brokerage, but moving forward, kind of as things settle, I'm going to get back into growth and looking at what we can do now that we have basically like blasted the borders. I mean, I'm not limited to Oklahoma City market. I can flex a network that's nationwide or even global. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I love that. And it kind of leads me to my next question is, obviously you were very successful at your previous brokerage. What led you ultimately to want to join EXP?
So I had interviewed and talked to, when Heidi was the broker in 2020, I spoke with EXP. I reached back out in late 21 and the timing wasn't right. I didn't understand it enough, and I know that there's that catchphrase that like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And maybe I just didn't give myself the opportunity to actually to learn it because I was comfortable. I knew what I was doing and things had gotten to a point of being somewhat predictable. And I got kind of, I guess, complacent straight up. But everything in life is impermanent. And if you can embrace those changes, I think that you will be that much better for it. And so seeing the benefits of global juggernaut EXP, I think there's a lot of, compliance and there's a lot of oversight and there's, coming from a mom and pop brokerage where you had a little bit more free reign in terms of what you can do with paperwork, like there's a bunch of pros and cons, right? But ultimately, EXP offers a incredible opportunity to maximize that network through their revenue share program. Obviously the stocks are a huge thing. People have been quiet about it since they've been low, but I remember, when they were up 70, $80. People all over social media were just like,
Right.
I made X amount of dollars through my stock share, and yada,
Even
yada, yada.
higher, right? Yeah, we went into over 100 plus, but who knows? Stock might be on sale right now, so it might be a good time to earn.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, this is cheap, man. I'm stockpiling. Like, I know this is gonna go up. I'm happy about this. Sorry,
Right.
Glenn. But yeah, I think that the landscape is going to shift dramatically in the next 5 to 10 years, and Zillow, when they get into the brokerage game, or any of these other larger kind of data-driven empires, are going to make it really difficult. And I think that personally, it's already a struggle for a lot of these smaller brokerages. And even if they're doing really well, man, and I'm not throwing shade about anybody. I just think that having the security of a publicly traded company, a company that is the size of EXP, I don't want to have to, in 5 years, call you and say, look, I should have done this 5 years ago. Like, you got room for me? So I think that it's just, if people would kind of take emotion out of it and look at the business that is in front of us and try to just do what we do as real estate agents and read the data that has happened previously and try to extrapolate that for the future. It's a smart move. There's no denying it.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned stock. And of course, we can't ever, predict where the stock is going. But I've been with EXP long enough that I've seen it as a penny stock. And, of course, the agent objection was back then, it's not worth anything. And then we went, I think, maybe as high as $165 a share. And the objection was then it's too high. It's not worth anything if I earn shares. And it's like, so it's either too low or too high. Which one is it? Right. Are you getting stock at your brokerage right now anyway? And most of the time the answer is no. So, and I know for you, in conversations that we've had, is you have some global expansion opportunities with kind of your immediate family and some UK ties and things like that.
Yeah. So I have, my wife is from London, and she has, her whole side of the family is, they live from north to south, from Leeds in the north to Dorset in the south. And I have tried, whenever we made this switch, I kind of went back to my black book, and I thought, okay, who do I know in any country, in anywhere that has a pulse that thinks about real estate? And, I have family in Ireland, and I have now, the family in England. And so I've been learning a lot about, especially the UK, and speaking with Adam Day, the UK expansion director, whatever his title is, about how they work, right? And like what their structures are as brokers or real estate, what do they call them? Letting agents. And I gotta say, like, we are super, super spoiled. Thank God for the anti-Sherman, the Sherman antitrust laws. I mean, making 6% is like astounding. These guys are making like 1.5% in different countries, and we're over here bitching about, I got to take a discounted listing at like 2.5%. It's like, get out of here, man. But being able to learn those models, and to I've talked to tons of people in the last 3 months in both London and in the north, and talking with Adam about what their plans are going forward. And right now there's employed versus, or self-employed versus employed. So we're setting up the cards for the future. But to be honest, Micah, I look at you and Hamudi, right? Like, you opened up Oklahoma, and you've got 4,000 agents on your downline, and that's like you guys are legit global. I mean, you've got people in other countries, and you've got, I'm assuming, every 50 states, maybe not Alaska or Hawaii, but
close. Yeah, close. I think last I counted is 37, but we've added some since then. So,
well, don't be modest. I mean, but that's awesome, right? And so, like, I'm not looking for an easy way out, but if there's an opportunity to open markets where I already have relationships, like you guys are doing in Dubai or otherwise, I think it's certainly worth a conversation. There's never any harm in networking, just to call somebody that and chat them up, and who knows what they have going on. But I think, in my opinion, every single city is just like Oklahoma City. You can throw a rock and hit 10 realtors. So why not have those conversations and see what kind of fruit can come from it?
No, I agree. And I always say that when people are like, how do I find realtors? I'm like, where do you not find realtors?
Yeah.
They're
Seriously.
everywhere. So you just, back to production and buyers and sellers, you just have to be having the conversations. So, and I know, you talked about a lot about having the conversations, but you're also really utilizing social media. I've seen you all over TikTok. The comment was made here that they see you everywhere. So obviously it's working. Why have you kind of made that shift or added to kind of your arsenal, social media?
Because I hate door knocking. And
Good reason.
I think that, if you can't adapt and improvise and kind of pivot with the technological shifts, then you're going to get swallowed up. And let's face it, man, social media has such a benefit in being able to touch a ton of different people, right? As opposed to blasting out a call list of 200 people that might take you all afternoon. You can make a YouTube video, or I've been following a lot of Connor Steinbrück from your
Right.
recommendation, and the passive prospecting model of YouTube, and I'm kind of going all in on video content right now. I mean, YouTube is the world's largest video search engine, owned by the world's largest search engine company. And so there are so many opportunities for people that are like, what's it like living in Oklahoma City? Or, what does Edmund $500,000 house look like? And you can continually get leads and business from that, but you can also just expand your presence, and I think that for me, a lot of it is, I know that if I put stuff on social media, it's not going to be 1,000 buyers lining up to say, hey, let me buy a house. But over time, it's the same thing as the whole intense between direct mail. They say you need you need to have 7 impressions in direct mail before somebody will call you. And so for me, this is chess, not checkers, as my old team used to say. Like, it is the long game, and the longer you're in it, the somewhat easier it gets, because you've got more time that your face is out there and more people will recognize you. And, obviously you've got the referrals from the business that you've already closed, but social media is huge. And I think that people that don't leverage that are missing a really big opportunity. A year ago, I didn't think I'd be making silly TikTok videos, but here we are.
No, I think that's awesome. And I think what I'm hearing from you is always be willing to change and adapt and be open to what's working, right? So a lot of agents have been like, I don't want to make silly TikTok videos, or I don't like video. I don't like how I, see myself on camera. But, the reality is 90% of consumers are looking online first. And my guess is social media is going to play a prevalent role in that personal brand. So I like that you're adapting and making those changes. So what are your goals, Will, in the next 5 years? I mean, where are we going to see you in the next few years?
I have my 3, 5, and 10-year goals that I've laid out, and I'd like to say that those are static, but sometimes they change. My goal is very bohemian. I want to establish a lifestyle for my family that is happy and that is content and all that kind of stuff. But to get down to numbers, like, I want to break 500K in GCI. I want to build an investment portfolio. I think that EXP or other brokerage, that's one of the only retirement plans that we have as real estate agents, is to establish rental income or some sort of kind of mailbox money, so to speak. So my goal for this year was to start an investment portfolio. That might be a little shifted right now, but I am very earnestly working towards building 100 people on my front line, just so I can, I can see the real power of EXP. I read some statistic that like less than 5% or something like that have more than 10 people on their downline of the company. And that might be a total
Sounds about
bogus.
right. No, that sounds pretty accurate.
Which is insane. Like, legitimately, one of the best elements of the company that people aren't using, and I know it sucks, man, because I had 4 iterations of a team while at Kivo, and they all, not all, but there was people who would leave in favor of a higher split, or for one reason or the next. but it sucks because you're like, I just poured so much time and effort into this person and, established a friendship, and it hurts, and it's this and that. But I think that it is easier to grow by attraction. And so by doing something that people are like, oh my God, like that guy looks a lot like he's a lot of fun, or he's got a lot of knowledge, or, I want to, like me, like with Charlie Merritt, like he's somebody that I look up to immensely. And when I got into real estate, he was my direct mentor. And I saw this guy that was super casual and hilarious and had good style. And like, I'm like, man, I want what this guy has. And so I legitimately just kind of blindly followed everything that he had told me, and here we are. And so he's certainly not led me astray. It does take blind faith, and there's some people who either are not able to take that risk, or they are not, they just might not be cut out for it. But I think that it's important to determine what people's real values and where they are in terms of their personal growth. Because if someone is afraid to get on the phone, or if someone is afraid to get out of their comfort zone, they won't grow, and they will be stagnant. And I don't mean to be harsh, but I think that that's a truth that is easier learned ahead, early on in a relationship, as opposed to later.
It's reality. It's not harsh. It's reality. And we say that all the time. Sometimes people don't like the feedback that I give or Hamudi gives, but we've been doing it long enough that we're like, unless you make some changes, this is going to be your reality. And so, but I think as leaders, we always do that with the agent's best interest, right? If we didn't care, we wouldn't be giving that feedback.
100%.
I love it. So for Will, for agents that are watching this, whether it be live or one of our recordings, and they love your energy, they'd love to learn from you and really join your team, which, by the way, is in all 50 U.S. states and 24 countries. What's the best way for agents to reach out to you?
You can scan this.
I love it.
My little QR code. Otherwise, you can willflanaganrealty.com. I'm at OKC Realtor on a bunch of different socials. However, man, I will check my emails or my texts or my carrier pigeons. So I would love to talk to you for whatever it is.
So we'll get some pigeon carriers.
Yeah, flaming arrows with notes attached.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Will. And I know that you've got some amazing goals to go international, bring on 100 direct agents and help sponsor them and mentor them and help them become successful. And with your personality and your drive, I have no doubt that you're going to do it. So thank you so much, Will, for your time. And we truly appreciate it today.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. Bye.